Hey, everybody, welcome back to another podcast, AMA style. Today we have Last Man Standing with us. And the gentleman from that team is Money. Money, you want to do us a favor and just kind of tell us a little bit about you, where you're from, and how you got into crypto and how this project came about.
Sure. Thanks for having me, David. I appreciate the Blockstar platform, as we were saying just a minute ago. Well, my name is Money. I put this project together some time ago. For those who have followed, you'll know that we've seen a long road, and it's been nice to see this coming towards completion. Myself, I've been in crypto since roughly 2018. However, I started with smart contracts and working in Solidity about a year ago.
So, welcome back with us, Mr. Money there.
Thank you, guys.
So, just a little bit about.
Let me get a comms check real quick. How's that sound?
Oh,
Is
yeah,
that
you're much better now. I could tell definitely you were in the green instead of in the red when you were talking. So, yeah.
Sounds good.
Much better. So, a little bit about what you said about your background. Looks like you've been in the space since 2018. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I've been, dilly dallying in the space and really just trying to understand what blockchain is, because
Sure.
as any true blockchain enthusiast will tell you, that takes a little while to grasp. And then to understand what putting a smart contract on top of the blockchain is and does, and how that, I really started breaking into that about a year ago, 18 months ago. And then I realized, there's a lot of really, really negative energy in this space. I'll leave it at that, saying it like that. And I think that some real positivity and some fun, and not always trying to break the mold, but
Sure.
yet doing things in the right way. I think there needs to be a little more of that. And so I dove in and I started creating, and then I started
Right.
collaborating, and
So,
from there.
would you consider yourself a beginner developer, a novice,
You
intermediate,
know, as far
expert?
as far as Solidity programming goes, I wouldn't consider myself an expert because it's always changing. I got a real firm grasp on that, and then more than that, collaborating where necessary is how you solve most of your problems. So, yeah, I would consider myself more than able in that area.
Perfect. So most of our viewers out there know who I am. I've been in the space coming up this month here. I don't know, 11, 12 more days. I would have been in the space for 13 years as a developer and as a project creator. This is not, Blockstar is not my first project. I've been an advocate and advisor on some of the top projects in the crypto space on the Ethereum chain and then also now on the BSC chain as well. Um, so it's nice to see new projects coming on and people coming on and learning the space and then turning in and starting to learn something that's new to them. In this case, would be Solidity and learning the way the contracts work. We always encourage that, and that's why we have our platform with the e-learning on it as well for anybody that wants to learn blockchain and money and how to be a developer, how to NFT and DeFi. We break all that stuff down. So I commend you for coming into a space and learning it before you decide to go on and launch your project. So let's get right into Last Man Standing. How did this project come about? Right. So give us the skinny on the project, kind of the 10-foot looking down on the project. That overview. What does it look like?
This project came about because the reward structure, the current reward passive structure that is being used and implemented in the space doesn't work. It just flat out doesn't work. Name me one kickback coin, one BUSD 7% return. Name me one token that is hyper successful in that fashion, and you can't. And the reason why is because the structure is flawed. And
So to be fair on that point, the one that did it first, or I would say second, to be fair, was Everrise. They did a very good job at doing that, and that's why they succeeded, right? Where everybody tried to come after them and did not do very well.
right, it's funny that you mentioned Everrise. I was actually a big proponent of Moonrise. That was the first project that I really got into, kind of on the ground level of being able to see and work with both sides. The public side of the team, but
Sure.
the public side, but then also with the team. Moonrise did an incredible They did an incredible job of making sure that everybody knew what was going on, and that's one of the things that I take from that. That's probably the same reason why Everrise was successful,
Sure.
at least initially, and still going forward. They
Right.
have a very, very good communications team.
Right.
So,
But to be fair, there are a lot of projects out there that tried to duplicate that and did a very, very poor job. I think we can all agree on that.
oh,
But to
absolutely.
the fair point, there are a couple that did do well.
34,000 token launches last month,
Right.
David. All with the same dead structure.
Sure.
So I took a look at that. I said, this isn't how this should be done. Everybody in crypto, everybody in token structure, everybody in finance has the same idea. Hold your money for a long period of time, make it work for you. However, every single person struggles with that hold it for a long period of time. And that's what makes holders successful, sellers profitable, and the circle and the ecosystem continue to turn. Well, I took the idea and I said, how do you create a reward system that's sustainable for members? Now, I want to come out right out in front and say, due to some of the current regulations that are coming down inside of US securities, and they're starting to come down on projects, it's really important that my project be seen as a membership that's learning together, experiencing it together, and then at the same time receiving that reward from what we're learning. And when I say what we're learning, I can get into a little bit of the structure of the project. The return of the reward that comes to the top users, and if you read through the white paper, you'll read how.
Yeah, we're gonna pull all that up and look at it on screen sharing and everything.
Yeah, you bet.
So
Before we get into that, I have to mention there are some serious changes that I will just mention along the way as you grow through there. We are in the midst of a tertiary change, so as you go through there, I'll just help fill in some of those items.
perfect. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. So you guys have not launched yet.
Correct.
And you guys
Correct.
are doing like a kind of a private sale seed round. Is that about right?
So essentially, I have a second project called Made of Dirt, which has been working on in the background. It's a Metaverse GameFi. To connect the two and to help drive a little bit of initial interest, I was providing private members, right? Because it's not a private sale. We're
Right.
just including private members. I was providing private members with rights and opportunities at Made of Dirt. We aim to have a play to earn game that last man standing members can go and earn and play inside of the public lands in that metaverse. I don't want to get too far into that, but that's so
So
that's
is
the
that project
reason.
live then? Is that one already launched?
No, but that's the reason for the initial seed here and the initial private membership is we need players and members who are willing to come help us test. And in order to do that, we'll supplement that by giving them first access to the play to earn area inside of Metadirt. That's subsequent. That's behind that. So no, we haven't launched. Metadirt is still in progress and working. What we'll do next is open up a special sale on GemPad. And I like the GemPad crew. I've worked with them a couple times getting this just about to set up, just about to start. And they've been hyper professional and
Yeah,
really
I know Jules and Merkel and all those guys over
and
there.
Biana and all those guys. You know what I really like, and I'm getting the same feeling here. I really like working with people who know what they're doing. If that makes sense. So that's our next plan. It will be relatively small. It'll be used for things like outreach, small giveaways. It's not
Sure.
being used for development or anything like that. That's all coming out of our pockets currently.
I got you. So just to be clear for anybody out there in the audience that is just going to be listening to these things going backwards and everything. So there is a second project that kind of plays in with this, but not necessarily. Now that is like a metaverse style project, P2E game.
Right, correct. It's a P2E game that's basically housed in the public lands. Essentially, it's a partnership. It goes back to the collaboration. However, I'm also a co-founder on that project.
So you're a co-founder on that particular project, and it's going to be in public lands on like Decentraland or something.
No, so it'll actually be on our own servers. I don't want to get too far into that. It's super exciting, but the big thing is that private members of Last Man Standing are going to have first access to that and are going to help us basically tease that out and test that out so that we can make sure that
Yep.
things like reward assets are accurate. We don't want to be, it's taken a lot of time, and we're not really in any hurry, and you'll understand why as I explain kind of the road that Last Man Standing has seen. I'm no longer in a hurry. You as a developer, you understand that nip at the back of your neck, the wolf biting on you, that deadline. I don't feel that way with a project like this because it's sustainable. I don't feel like I need to catch a hype or I need to catch a wave or anything. So we'll go through that a little bit later.
Yeah, the only reason I mentioned your other project and everything because you're giving people that buy into the Last Man Standing will eventually get rights into something that's in another project that you're a co-founder on, and that's why I brought it up, right?
Yeah, you bet.
Because that is a significant thing to know in the future, right? So, what do you say to the critics out there to say that you're doing two projects? Why not just focus on one? What do you say to those critics?
Well, I think that if you go ahead and log into metadirt.com and you go ahead and log into lmstoken.com, you can see there's a huge variability in it. Metadirt is a project that involves many game developers. It involves, tons of tech. It's this growing animal. Whereas LMS is written, it's finished, it's ready to be decentralized. It's ready to be that, standalone reward mechanism for those that want to participate. If the critics are asking, the critics should know that the crypto involvement for most GameFi projects, most of the game developers don't understand crypto development, solidity development, those kind of things. And so you have to work as a team. So I'm proud to be working on two projects. I'm working on, other projects as well. I think that as a developer, you have to constantly be innovating. And if you're not, you become stale. And so I'd say check it out, check all of it out wholeheartedly. And when you see the honest approach from both of them, I think that's where the interest is gained.
No. I understand that completely. What I guess is what I meant from because there's going to be a lot of critics out there.
Right.
Why focus all your time? Why not put all that energy into one project? Let's get that one rolling out first, and then move into the next project after this is completed.
I completely understand. They both came up about the same time, and
Sure.
so two great teams. And so I really, when I took a look at it, I just said, how do we make them work together?
Right.
How do we lean on each other?
Sure. So I'm just gonna pull up the website. We'll do some screen sharing here. I'll pop it up here.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Which one is it here? Yeah, this one. So this is your website here.
It is.
Yep.
We've closed that private membership unless somebody is actually.
When you say private membership, you talking about this private cell address?
Correct. We've closed that unless somebody is actually interested in getting in and helping us alpha test and beta test and release test, because That's what it was intended for, really.
So are you just gonna refund everybody that got in before you guys made that decision?
No, not at all, because they're all involved in helping us test,
Okay.
or at least they have all the opportunities to be able to help us test.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm asking because you're closing it down, so it's not the same as it was when you guys first put this information
It
out.
just right. It just won't
You
be.
gave them an option; they could either stay in or get out. Is what I'm asking.
We're just going to move forward. Everybody seems to be on board just to move forward.
Sure. So it looks like you guys raised like what 9.1
You
BNB.
know, it ended up being roughly about 12 BNB. You know, we shifted off a few things. I have a nice couple videos. We've been working with some community members. I did some, a couple giveaways. You know, the thing with AMAs is you like to reward the crowd for listening to you.
Sure.
You like to do this, and so the entirety of crypto is community, and so the entirety of it is giving back to that community in some fashion, right? We're all looking to be a part of something. We're all looking to be a part of the next great thing. So, but in order to do that, I really had to. What's the word I'm looking for here? I really had to take a step back and say, what moves the whole project forward when we come to that point. And I really limited what I would spend.
Right.
I never tapped into that. Anything that came out of that was artwork for those kind of things. Everything else, as far as communications, listing, anything else, has come out of
Yeah,
my
it
pocket, of
wasn't
course.
much to be fair that came out. It was like point 0.1 BNB, point
Right.
0.3. I
Right.
mean, you're talking about
And
less
the
than one
best part
BNB.
about that, I'm so glad you brought that up, David. The best part about that is most of that is to the community members there who have
Right.
put their time into creating something for the project.
Sure.
Other than that, it came out of my own.
So you guys are going to be moving forward with what you have there. So what are those funds spoken for at this point? There's 9.1 left there. What are those going to be used for in the project?
So there's two scenarios here.
Okay.
One scenario is our gem pad sale goes great. We lock in another 10 that we can use for outreach. And this initial 10 gets to be used for a little more developmental things. Some of the things that we want to add
Now you
down the
guys
line.
already developed on this project though, right? You said everything was ready on this one, ready to go.
Correct. But there's some, we didn't, I initially didn't include an NFT program.
Sure.
I've come across some really talented artists. It leaves me with a little bit to do if we can secure our next gem pad. And then here's the next thing. If the gem pad if this gem pad special sale is successful and we're moving forward with this new swap called Riser Swap. I'll let you guys do your own research on that.
Okay.
But we're going to additionally offer their holders a small entry, and all of those funds, after they're all commingled, if all goes well, I want to use an initial piece of it to provide for the advertising, of course. I want to use the second initial piece of it for continued AMA and outreach.
Sure.
But then I want to do something kind of special for anybody who got in, and I'd like to take a portion of that and start the first part of the gold mine, which you and I will get into just next, and start the first part of the gold mine to start initiating some of those rewards.
Sure. So you guys are going to be doing your pre-sale on Pink Cell, right? I know you guys haven't set a date yet, but that will be on Pink Cell.
So that's actually one of the major changes.
Okay.
We're gonna go ahead and use Riser's what's called sacrifice page. And the reason why we do that is because pre-sale indicates the influence of future profits, and you can't do that. We are not a security, we're a membership. So the reason why we do something like that is to keep it a bit smaller. We'd like to start this thing really small, everybody on board, is really excited to be there. And regardless of how long it's been, I don't feel the angst from the group to get away. And sometimes in projects that can happen. People stop showing up.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So no,
So I want to
we're
make
actually
one thing clear, just for the audience out there listening, as far as pink cell and securities and all that stuff. That's actually not the case, right? So what you're talking about are like the ICOs and the days of back in 2017, 2018 that would have been considered a security, and that's why they are very, very frowned upon in the space. But doing a pre-sale or a private sell or a seed round is very much not looked or frowned upon. It's depending on what your project is. Right?
correct. Bingo. And that's you are dead on, David. Thank you so much for nailing that, because that can really be, I appreciate that Blockstar's got a nice educational piece. It's really what, as you'll see, what the gold mine structure and then the future of moving to the different blockchains, you'll see that that's really what Last Man Standing is tapped into too, is about educating the members and about educating the incoming, about what's going on in the space. Sure. So I appreciate that sentiment completely, man.
So on the Riser platform, and you say sacrifice, I'm not, I guess, not as familiar with the Riser.
Right. You're not familiar with Riser yet because it's still in its alpha testing.
Okay.
It's out and available now for public use.
But you want to kind of just tell us the process of what the sacrifice part of it is?
Sure. So it's a fair launch process.
Okay.
That the end value is indeterminate. So that it just means that I can't tell you what the end value of the token is going to be.
Right. That's how all fair launches work, right? Even on Cell or any of the other ones, right? So depending on how many people put in, it recalculates based on the amount that you are putting aside in your tokenomics for pre-sale or private sale.
Right. And then the only thing that we omit then to keep the project safe and those kind of things is just the expected price. Everything else is still the same. I think you'll really like it. I know you'll, because I know you already. I know you'll go and check it out, and I want you to really take some time over there, because it's a very, very talented group that I'm super happy to be partnered and collaborated with.
Yeah, absolutely. We look at launch pads every day. We actually have our 3.0 launch pad coming out in the next 2 weeks, where you can actually secure all your marketing and everything. And we offer insurance premiums as well on all of our projects that go through our IncuPad services. My only concern would be, especially on a new ecosystem like Riser, why you chose to go through them instead of somebody like Cookie Cell, Pink Cell, DXL, somebody that already had the volume, especially if you're looking to get as many people eyes on the project as possible, why you decided to go with Riser that doesn't necessarily have the same user base.
Correct. And that's okay, because coming from an original idea of having 1,000 BNB hard cap and a 500 BNB soft cap, and then realizing that in today's market, with the saturation of developers, with the saturation of swaps, and just the over excess of tokens just dripping out of the system.
Sure.
I took the time to work with somebody whom I trusted.
Okay.
And also who I see, and now being in this space a while, you start to begin to be able to filter the BS and the big stuff, right?
Sure. I can assure you that actually 90% of the projects you see today will not be here at the next bull run. It happens every cycle, right?
Absolutely.
And then you'll see a whole new set of projects that come along, promising the world and under delivering, and then we'll just repeat that cycle again 4 years later, right?
So I chose Riser for that reason, because I really do believe that among the cookies and the unis and the pancakes, Riser, I do believe, puts itself on the map, and this gives us the best opportunity to kind of take part in that. They also, they also have a ton of additional utilities, which I think brings users and a user base.
Sure. We'll get more into that because I did look at some of what Riser was doing over there. They're still
Sure.
using the Pancake Swap router at this point.
No, they're not. You can use the Pancake Swap router on that
So
platform.
currently, the way that their system is set up, they're still using it. They plan to change that here in the near future, but currently, right now in their contract, it is the Pancake router.
No, no. Riser has its own router and factory, and it's actually built. It's built similar to the Tech. I guess people are calling it Tech 2, Tech
Yep.
2.0. It's built to eliminate those contract cells. And what the app has available is
Yep.
the ability for you to choose as a user whether or not you want to use the Pancake Swap router, or whether or not you want to use the Riser Swap router.
Yes.
But as a developer,
The DApp that they're using, just to be clear, so any of the audience out there listening, to be clear on that, I actually went through their contract for that, and it's a DApp that they're building on a front end, right? So they are going to give the ability so that they can get their fees and move away from the Pancake Swap. Eventually, it will only be on theirs. But currently, right now, what's in their contract specifically right now as the router they are using, they are building a front end to interact with that, and it's in their contract. Specifically, if you would like to go look at that. I actually looked at that before all of this stuff. But it is the router from Pancake Swap. But if you look at the roadmap, they do plan to do that, and they have built a DApp on the front end to be able to interact with a new router, and they do have their own factory, just like you said, and all that can be turned live at any time. But currently, in this alpha testing or whatever they're doing, it is still working off of the Pancake Swap router. That is 100% factual in the contract on blockchain, obviously. So for anybody that's out there listening, does want to go look at that, it's not a bad thing, right? They're in alpha and beta testing and all that stuff. These are things that are supposed to be done this way. So it's not a bad thing, right? But to be clear, right now it's still on Pancake Swap. So will your LP be locked on Riser, or will that go to the BSC and lock on Pancake Swap? You still there, Money? Or we lose you, buddy?
Nope, I'm here. You here? You hear me okay?
Yep. Oh, yeah, we're here.
Okay.
So if you were talking, I didn't hear anything you were saying. So are you guys?
I was just commenting about what you had said about Pancake Swap, and no, the Riser Swap is built on its own router and factory. Yes, the Pancake Swap router is available there. And to answer your question about the liquidity, as I heard it right at the end there, yeah, we're going to go ahead and pair our initial liquidity with Riser and give ourselves the best opportunity. Now, what's nice about that is we have the ability for multiple pools. And I think that is important to keep in mind.
Okay. So you will be doing your first pool with the Riser token and with your token. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So what are you guys looking at doing at how many tokens you get for the pre-sale compared to what they got it at private sale? Because I'm assuming what you did come in at private sale, they're going to be getting those tokens at a certain price, right?
Yeah, there's a bit of a prime rate, and then of course we had a referral, little 5% referral bonus for anybody who brought in a friend. Both parties will get an extra 5%. Currently, it's currently it's up in the air. We're at a 1B supply right now. Is what I'm holding steady on. Determinant on what the rest of the special sale includes will give me a better idea of what I can release as the tokenomics. I can't really give you a hard number right there because I haven't actually determined what our starting liquidity is going to be if things don't compile, so to speak. If the next special sale doesn't go, if the next pre-sale doesn't go, I still want this off of the ground. And at that point, I'll use the private sale for a portion of the liquidity.
Gotcha. I guess maybe I'm confused now. So you're doing a fair launch, right? So no matter what the price ends up being, it will automatically launch.
Right, but I don't have the exact token structure at this moment, as I just recently changed. I just recently changed a lot in the contract. I included a reflection back to holders in WBNB. Included a metadev game fee, so that we can collect for that play to earn.
Okay, so the contract that we're going to be looking at that was part of your website, is that not the correct contract then anymore?
Correct. That contract has been updated. Now, the base of that contract is still very much the same, and that had been audited by TechRate. But at this time, I'll get the new contract as soon as we can get Riser to a spot where I feel like it's a good time to deploy. I'll get that contract right out there for everybody to read. One of the things that I think is important in this space, especially as a new investor coming in, is learning to read contract. Learning to read.
That's what I was going to ask you, if we were able to read the new contract. Have you already deployed the contract?
In testnet, yes. I haven't deployed it on main.
Do you have the address you can share with us? I'll pull it up in testnet for you.
There's still a few things to iron in there as far as the reflection and that kind of thing. So why don't you hang on, Dave? Why don't we do this? What about, as soon as I get it, you and I have a little standalone and we do just a little chat about it.
We always let everybody come back at any time, right?
Yeah, I know you love digging through these things. So I do too, which is why I got into it. So I'd really be excited if, when I get that deployed, if you and I can come back and do a little Josh sesh about it and get kind of down to the nitty gritty on it. But at this time, I just don't have it, and I'm just not ready to release it. I'm not ready to kind of release how it works just yet until the time.
No, I got you. I just feel like maybe you might be early kind of into the AMA scene without having the contract, so everybody can let. Because, like I said, we want our audience out there to come and support you, right?
Absolutely.
So being able to send those guys to support you, they got to have something to look at, right? Because we encourage everybody to go through the contract.
I agree 100%. This was something that Trev approached me. Trev and I have a little bit of a history because of the path that LMS has taken. He approached me and said, "Hey, look, I got a Thursday. Do you want to come talk about it?" And like I said in the beginning, man, I will talk to anybody at any time, anywhere about my project. I get excited about it.
No, absolutely. And yeah, we love Trevor and everything. Trevor's done a great job of going out and getting a ton of projects and everything. Just my personal opinion, take it for what it is. Sure, I think you just might be early to the AMAs.
It's a little early to take a look at the technical analysis. Absolutely. Well, we can move on with some of the fundamental stuff. I think you'll enjoy.
Yeah, let me just go ahead and close out this contract so we won't be looking at that one. Let me just close that out.
I mean, you're looking at the same thing, right? Like you're looking at a small marketing fee, rather than and it's pretty simple. Rather than giving back initially the collected sales fees, we're going to pool them in a fashion that continues to grow. Something that can never be depleted, because we're only issuing a portion of it. And by doing that, not only do you create an everlasting reward base, but you also create an increasing reward base. Sure. And that's something unique. Everybody can offer 7% of the volume, right? But how many of them can offer an increasing 7% of that volume?
Right. So what is your goal in the end game too? Because as you know, with rewards and all that stuff, with all these tokens and everything, what would you say is kind of your strategic strategy to make sure that the volume stays in the project? Because obviously you're going to need those money coming in and volume on buy and sells to be able to continue to fund and to give back those reflections into the project. What is your strategy going forward for that?
Community activities. We have a number of ideas based on creating interactions.
Sure.
One of the big ones that you see listed here is the shootout. Now, when this was written a while back, the buy competition wasn't something that was so standard with everybody. However, I saw that a buy competition could be done a little bit differently and more competitively. It could be performed in a flip coin style DApp as a shootout, quote unquote shootout. Now, I want to preface this, all right, because David, I know that you deal with some very, very serious projects. I know that you have spoken with some projects that their aim is to change the world.
Right.
That's not what the aim of LMS is to do.
No,
LMS is,
that's okay too. You don't have to
yep,
change the
yep,
world.
yep. So we're gonna do a lot of fun things. We're gonna do some of the things that make the space fun. So originally, shootout will be buy comps, but then it'll become a flip style DApp game that allows these guys to buy over each other in a bit of a shootout, right? Maybe
Right.
even a creation of an avatar. If you're involved over at Made of Dirt, maybe we bring over your avatar. One of the things that has become increasingly popular lately is is the staking of NFTs and using NFTs in your utilities. Well, originally, I hadn't slated this for any. Now you can see how I left it wide open. The Wild West theme definitely precludes itself to a bit of an NFT, but I didn't include any of that. That's all something that I want to bring to the table later if the progress. That's the way that you keep these things moving. The big one and the big change recently, and this is big for me, and I'm happy to be able to release this. The most wanted portion of our project, because of the new reward system, allows us to include other projects.
Sure.
Now, imagine your project has a reward, okay? That's fantastic. Now imagine that your project has 2 rewards. What's better than 1? 2. Okay, so, but in order to accomplish that, traditionally, you would have to sell off your token to do that. With Last Man Standing, collaborating with many developers, bringing in a portion of their marketing, a portion of their rewards, or a portion of their liquidity, bringing it in to purchase Last Man Standing, which then participates in the gold mine, gives them the ability to add an additional reward in wrapped BNB to their project. And more importantly, it gives them the ability to tap into the everlasting pool versus their own volume-based pool. So that's the next big advance. So now it's going to take, and you and I know this, it's going to take community members who are driven to accomplish that.
No, I get that part of it, right?
Yeah, definitely.
My concern, I know that a lot of community members are going to message me after this and say, "Why didn't you ask this?" So I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. So, right. So the key is your community members are going to be awesome, right? And they're going to be the initial people creating that volume, and maybe even going out and getting you some more people. But as we know, eventually that stuff, when you're doing that repetitive stuff, especially asking the community to do it, they get tired of it, right? They get tired, they get bored with it. They're looking for something else, right? So the key would be able to bring in new outside users that keep investing and buying and selling on the contract, right?
Correct. Welcome to the top 10 list of the most wanted. So every gold rush, there's an intent to bring people in. And if you can bring people in, you move up the most wanted list. And what is the number one thing that everybody here is for? Money. Let's pay them. Let's pay them to do this. Let's give it back to the community in a form that's sustainable so that it didn't come straight out of a marketing wallet. It didn't come straight out of, God forbid, the liquidity. It didn't come out of the development of anything. It's a sustainable reward, and we're giving it back to the people who are involved, who get other people involved, who then become involved. Now, again, we're a membership. We're trying to push that education piece as well.
Sure.
And we'd like to move to all of the, I wouldn't say all, we'd like to move to at least the 5 most popular blockchains. You asked me how I keep interest and how I keep moving.
Right.
At the end of a gold rush, we're hoping, it is our intent, that we move a new gold mine to the next blockchain.
Sure.
And at that point, we're hoping, and it is our intent, that the involved people who have received that gold mine reward use that to get involved in the next gold mine. And then creating that ebb and flow across multiple chains that is not for the project. That doesn't necessarily build the project. That builds the individual's wallet, and it builds it without having to go back to the bank account to get more fiat to get to the next chain to do these things. And so that's kind of the goal there. And I hope that answers your question a little bit. I know.
Right. So it's not necessarily going to be bridge. You're just going to basically launch on each one of the blockchains, and that way you can play the game there. Because really what you're creating is really just a game theory game that can be played. And I'm okay with that, right?
Yeah.
You
nailed it, David. You nailed it.
I've invested in several projects and everything just because, and I hated the projects, right? But I love the people behind it and the game theory. I'm personally not a DJ player, but I invested in these projects because the guy came to me and said, you are going to lose money in my project and somebody is going to win a lot of money. And it was Hunger Games, and his name is Crypto Batman. If any of you guys know him out there, shout out to him.
I do.
So super great guy. Love what he does with contracts and everything. But everything's done in the contract. Everything is done through blockchain itself. So everything is there for everybody to see. And I'm probably giving away some of his stuff, which he doesn't care. I'm sure he's out drinking a beer in his lazy.
It's all source anyway, right? Because inevitably everything is forked from one idea or another.
Well, so this isn't forked, right? This is his game theory, right? That's all this guy does is just sit around and think of new game theory ideas, and he makes them, right? That's all he does. But he also tells you when you come in, just like with his Hunger Games, 20 people buy it, closes out the series, right? It closes that series out, and then there's going to be one winner. The other 19 people go into a pool, okay? Then another series starts, the same thing. One person wins, the other 20 go in. You can't sell until your number is chosen, right? So as everybody's buying in, right, only one person from series can sell, the other 9 can go in. So now one person wins, and then one wallet is chosen from the other pool, right? At the end of it, after all the series, there's usually like 10 to 20 series, right? The game ends, and if you were not able to sell, you get liquidated, right? 50%, and then you get a refund for 50%. But if everybody bought into the series after you, all that money just accumulates in there, and you can cash out at any time, but you can't buy anymore. Because
you're describing the exact theory. I mean, that's exactly it. Outlast your competition in last man standing. And
right, but there is no reward left over, though, is what I'm saying. It gets completely liquidated. He takes half of it just for his time of making the game, and then the other half that you didn't get liquidated, you get back as a refund.
Okay, well, I'm going to take his half that he makes for making the game. I'm going to take it and keep it participating, and I'm going to keep it going and going and going. And the only reason why is because at the end of the Hunger Games, there will be one. There will be a last man standing, and that happens with every single project, except for with last man standing. You're hoping that that's the case. You're praying that your competition fades off.
So how long does the game last is my point, because people get bored in crypto. You know how that goes.
Correct. Well, if you wanted to call it a game, you could. The gold mine passes out its reward, 50% of its earnings, every 3 months.
And that's when you would call it game over at 3 months then?
So I don't like that term game over, but
Well, you can
yeah,
always start a new game. It's start
right,
another
right, right,
round, whatever
right.
you want to call it.
So not game over, first level complete. Second level is on to the next blockchain, but that doesn't eliminate the gold mine from the first blockchain. So you still have the perpetual gold mine on the first blockchain. Game two or level two is getting in on the second gold mine on, let's say, AVAX or Chronos.
Right. Let's say that I'm not on any of those other networks. I'm only on BSC network.
Correct.
So how am I still getting rewards
Yep.
on the
Yep.
Ethereum?
No, no. So you're not getting rewards cross chain because you didn't participate cross chain. So
So I
you'll
guess it's
receive.
not fair to say level 2 or next level. It just I think it would be fair to say it starts a new game.
Okay, fair enough. I don't. Yes, it's gamified, but the gold mine is consistent. So, in your question, in your example, at the end of the first gold mine, you just receive your reward. If you've chosen to continue on to the next blockchain with everyone, you do so. If not, 3 months later, you just get another reward from the BSC gold mine.
Right. So you'll be back to the BSC network. It'll just go in a rotation.
It'll just keep every 3 months, the BSC gold mine will pay out.
Right.
And then the third month after the beginning of the next chain starts, you'll actually have two payouts, one from the AVAX chain, one from the gold mine in the BSC chain. And remind you that payout doesn't decrease, it only increases because it's not tied to daily volume.
Right. I get the gold mine not being tied to daily volume, but the daily volume is what builds it, though.
Correct,
At
correct,
the end of the
correct.
day.
And so we
So
really want to keep
essentially,
people active and going, and we want them involved. And so, games and competitions
right.
and the next project, and always trying to reach out to the next community and group, and just having people actively involved in it. Really, that's how that's going to happen.
Gotcha. Um, so let's just kind of go over the tokenomics. Is all that the same, or is all that changed now? Then
It has changed a little bit, but it's easy to describe, and it's all very, very similar.
perfect. I got it up on the screen. If you just want to kind of walk us through it real quick.
Oh, yep. Yeah. So, um, I've changed the buy and sell tokenomics. The buy and sell tokenomics will be both of the same. We won't have a sell different than the buy. It'll just work out the same, and that's fine. It also won't be incredible. I'm going to lower them slightly from where they're at on the sell here. A small amount. A small amount of marketing.
Yeah,
Uh,
right now you got it at it was like 8% sell. So you're gonna keep the 4, 2, and 2 and leave it at 8% still, or no?
so on the front side, we're going to keep it at 4% excuse me, we're going to lower it to 2% marketing. We're going to move 1% to the to the meta game dev fee. Sorry, you can tell I've been coding lately. So we're going to move 1% to the meta fee for the play to earn. And then, sorry, what was your other question?
No, I just wanted to know you're gonna be charging a 4% buy and a 4% sell overall tax, right? So
No, 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 no. It'll be closer to 10. So it'll be closer to
so you're not
10%.
lowering it, you're raising it.
Wrong. So we had an additional 8% buy for the gold mine, and that will get modified, as will everything else will come down just slightly. And I think the reason for that is I think that the high tax tokens have a limited appeal. I think that there's a really good nature for keeping taxes low, and I believe that you can accomplish the development pieces that you're looking to accomplish. I think you can do that as long as you have the volume, even if your taxes are low. So our taxes will look like very, very similar, but it'll be about 6% to the gold mine. It'll be 2% to the or 1% to the metaverse wallet, 2%.
Well, did we lose him? Are you guys still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah, we lost him. I don't know what happened. You want to check with him, Trevor, see if we can get him back in?
Yeah, yeah, I'll definitely reach out to him right now.
It looks like we lost you there, Money.
Yeah, you sure did. No, I was just saying that the taxes will be adjusted and adjusted just slightly lower. So the buy sell will come up just a touch, but the the buy tax will come up just slightly. The sell tax will come down to make it all a little lower. And the reason why I was saying that is because I think that the high tax tokens, they have a limited appeal unless you're directly benefiting from those high taxes. It hurts you as a member. Does that make sense? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you just fine. So,
Okay.
so I just want to be clear because people are listening again. So 4% is what you had of that on the gold mine, 2% and 2%. So that was 8%. And then it used to be on the sell, used to be 8%, 2%, 2%, which would be 12. You're going to raise the buys to 10% and you're going to lower the sells to 10%, and it will be 10% straight across the board and then broken down like you described, correct?
Correct. And possibly even lower in the future. I just don't see the high tax tokens doing well forever.
Right. So I'm assuming you're going to put into the contract where you can't ever set it above a certain percentage, so you don't get flagged by like CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap, and Dex Tools and all that.
Yep, yep. And the
Perfect.
other thing is the functions, the functional fees will all be there for everybody to see, to read and to see.
Right on the read side of the contract.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
I
Um,
won't, you know, I don't, I won't need anything more than is there, and so people will have it all at face value.
right, I got you. So it'll be set at 10% buy and sell, and it'll never go any higher than that. Basically, if anything, you'll end up lowering it down. Correct.
I can't commit to that 10% yet because again, we're dialing in that play to earn, and I really like just don't hard number me yet.
Yeah,
I
when I
will.
hold it to you, I told you to it. I'm just asking because you said it could potentially be lower, right? So I'm just saying. So the guys out there, listen, look, it's going to be 10%. They're going to try to get it lower, right? These aren't supposed to be I got you moments, right? These are
No,
just
no, no,
being
no.
able to
I'm
take
not.
a
I'm
look
not
at the
saying they
contract.
are. I'm just being honest with you and letting you know that I don't have the exact tokenomic structure. I do, however, intend to lower them. I know that 10% is slightly higher than the original buy that I had wrote, but it's significantly lower on the sell side. And I think that goes back to your question just a moment ago. How do you continue to drive that interaction?
Sure.
And it comes down to the involvement, but also not being raked over the coals when you're coming in and out.
Right. No, I get that completely. The last thing, because I had seen where you guys had like 50,000 plus added to Pi Gold Mine. You want
It
to tell us
was,
a little bit about that?
yeah, this was originally slated to be 1,000 BNB project. Um, we had written this, had partnered with the way that we had set this up. It was really going to fly out of the gate, and we got held up a little bit, and then we got held up a little more, and then we finally decided to do things ourselves. You can see the riser swap, do things ourselves, because at the end of the day, I got sick of in crypto, you have to be very time efficient. And
Yep.
as soon as somebody sees that your time has been either elongated, or they want to know why.
Right.
And so we haven't adjusted yet. All this through because the Pi isn't a part of our ecosystem anymore. And
Right.
all
So all
this
this
will be,
is just
yeah,
outdated
all
information
this
then.
will be adjusted. I just got to get a second to get there. So that's really where it was from, man. I wanted $1 million in this gold mine. I
Right.
want imagine, you know, the $1 million of liquidity, or, you know, because, you know, you and I both know when you have a market cap of $1 million, you don't have $1 million in liquidity. You don't have $1 million in funds. That's just the representation of it. And so it, you know, and I have succumbed to making it smaller because I want it to be successful.
Sure.
And I think that we can do that. I think the group, man, the group that I have managed to put together to continue working on this, there's no way that we're not successful because they all are persistent. They all are intelligible. Every single one of them is familiar with the area, and they get behind it.
No, I get that
And
100%.
those are just the community members. It's awesome. I had a community member yesterday put together a whole slideshow based on some of the images that we've had up. And again, we've been doing this for a long time. So it was really cool. It was really cool to see.
Just one last thing. I know you said that the audit and everything, you guys were going to go through tech rate for your audit. It looks like you guys just did a free version. Is that right?
Right. We just said when I deploy, because like I told you originally, I like people to be able to go through this. I want them to be able to see this. So when we deployed this originally, I threw it through the tech rate free audit just because I wanted everybody to be able to see it and be able to see what it was and know that it's, you know, and granted, that's not their full audit. I know that. And I think a lot of people know that, but I do think that it's nice. It was a nice start for us. That was
right. It's like going through like token sniffer or contract just to make sure it's not basically a honeypot. That's all it really does.
Yeah, that's really and really it only measures 4 areas of the contract. So it's between you and me. I hope people are doing further research, and the reason why is because they'll be very pleased when they do.
Right. So what are you guys looking at? I know that you said that you wasn't looking at, Russian and all that stuff. Just so the people out there, when they're following along and everything, how far out are you, do you say, on kind of getting this all lined out, getting an audit and all that stuff done, getting everything set up over there at
Riser?
At Riser and all that stuff, and being able to say, okay, we are going to do our fair launch on this day, or at least start it
by the end of the month.
By the end of the month.
And I have not ever, to this point in this project, put a date like that on it. But I want this done by the end of the month.
Perfect.
Everything here is complete. And if you join our Telegram and you come and take a look and you ask some of our members, that you'll learn that I am a very thorough individual and everything is done. Some projects launch with a Telegram and that's it. And they bring people in and do it. No. Everything's complete. Everything down to the listing requirements for CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap. They're ready. Like I said, the original source code was audited, or at least by the tech rate free audit. We have a Bitcoin talk. We have the Reddit, the Medium, the Twitter. Now it's time to put people in there who drive those facets, and that's that's where we're at. But I want this out by the end of the month.
Just so I can point people to your website and all that stuff. You guys are going to be updating the website, I'm assuming, soon, if you're planning on being done by the end of the month.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. A lot of these decisions have just, have really just
come back and drop some information and bring us updates and everything, drop them right into the Blockstar group. So anybody that's out there listening that wants to come follow along with what you're doing and check out the project, that way they'll be able to get all of the updated information as well. Like I said, with the new contract, with the website being updated, and maybe some hard dates on when they should look forward to coming on and being part of your fair launch and everything.
Yeah, man, I would be honored to be a part of something like that. Like, and as I stated in the beginning, in crypto, it's about collaborations and partnerships. And partnerships are not one-off occurrences. It's not, hey, I was in your room for this and then I was gone. It's, hey, I enjoy the heck out of your community and I want to do more with it.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you having me. I'll get out of here. I'll leave it at that.
Well, wait a minute now. We always give you the last word. So I got, it's 2 parts. So I'm going to give you the last word to tell everybody out there in the audience what you want them to hear for the final word. But then also, when, in your opinion, what has to happen for this project to be a success to you?
Oh man, what a great final way to get out of here, David. I respect the hell out of that. This project is successful to me if the people who are currently involved come together, enjoy the time that we have, and push it further than even they thought possible through constant collaborations, new and innovative marketing ideas, and breaking the mold from the current structure of rewards to a group of crypto members.
Sure.
That makes it successful to me.
Perfect. And then the last thing you want everybody to hear on this.
Hey man, come check us out at Last Man Standing. It's new, it's innovative. I really like the group. Everything that's been done here has been done to better the space. We're looking to contribute in a positive manner and have a bit of fun doing it. That's the goal. Thanks,
No,
Dave.
that's perfect. You guys can check them out. I know they got a Telegram group, but they also have a group over here on Blockstar now. Check them out. Join the group and everything. We look forward to having some more updates coming in. I'm going to be following along in their group as well, so I can get some updates too. And then we will catch you guys next time on another Blockstar AMA.
Thanks, David.
Thanks, buddy.